Hey, Sally, what up?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing very well today.
Awesome. What's up?
So I am calling because I am wondering, how do I know when I'm done growing my family?
I don't have no idea.
So that's obviously a question between me and my husband, but there's some stuff in there that you might be able to help with. So Let me kind of explain my situation a little bit here. I have two wonderful boys, age 2 and 3 months old today. And I have had 2 scary emergency get the baby out now C-sections.
Okay.
And so in order to have a third, because of what has happened medically, I would need to schedule a C-section this time, which both sounds terrifying and also like a giant relief.
Sounds less terrifying than the last 2 times.
Yeah. It does. But putting myself into that same situation, like walking back into the lion's den, right?
Well, and hey, can we just say that real quick? I'm so glad you said it that way. We just talk about C-sections like, like gotta have a C-sec. That's a major abdominal surgery.
Yeah.
They're cutting all your guts. I mean, it's like a really, if you ever watched a video of that in class it's intense, man. So yes, I get and you don't just get up to go to the bathroom. It's a whole recovery process, right? And so, yes. So you're right to be apprehensive. And on top of that, this surgery was in order to save your life the last few times, right? So there's a lot there. Good for you. Okay.
Thank you. So after my first experience, I was diagnosed with postpartum anxiety and PTSD.
Correct.
And sought help specifically through a perinatal psychologist.
Okay.
Went through the EMDR process. Came to find out that I know you're familiar with EMDR, but basically there's like a root lie, and then you work your way towards a truth. And so the root lie for me was that I had failed as a mother, that, I hadn't delivered my child. I wasn't able to keep him safe, on and on. I had many parts of it, but it all came back into I had failed as a mother.
Yeah.
And so
I remember one woman telling me, I had these, she said it's so funny, and we both cried together. But it was like, I've been carrying around these oversized birthing hips my whole life, and then my body let me down, right? When they had to have an emergency C-section. But it was something about this failure as like I've been telling myself that this was gonna pay off someday, and then somehow I failed. And it was that sense of letdown, which is so heavy. I had never considered that before.
Yeah, there definitely was a sense of like my body failed me, and I had a lot of anger towards the hospital. It was one of the big university hospitals here, and I had a very much feeling of you did this to me, and worked through some of that, and then went back to that same hospital for a variety of reasons to have my second, and experienced almost same, it was a weird 2.0 version where they fixed some of the bugs, but the storyline was still the same. Mm-hmm. So I came out of that experience, again, he's 3 months old today, without birth trauma, without PTSD, without postpartum anxiety. And my husband and I have always kind of been in the 2, maybe 3 category. And now I have my second child, and now I need to make the decision of if I even want to have the conversation with my husband of having a second or a third child. We have 2 boys. We would love to have a girl. So I don't know, because my heart wants a third child, I think, but also my brain says, you are not safe in labor. What the hell? What the heck do you think you're doing? Yeah. You are not safe in labor. You can't keep your children safe when you're in labor.
Yeah.
And that they have big hurt hips, and then that's where we get we're leaving now for the emergency C-section kind of thing. So how do you? I guess that's my question. How do I wrestle with maybe wanting a third, and also knowing that my brain tells me you can't do that. That's not safe.
Yeah, I think it's being honest and not avoiding the big black hole, which is grief. I had this picture of my life. Here's what I wanted. Here's what I needed to be true. Here's what I hoped would be true. And here's what reality has handed me. And we have so much technology and so much distraction and so many things to swipe and so many ways to avoid that as a culture, we've just learned to skip over that. And I think that's a chief source of anxiety in our culture is our body's just trying to get our attention and say, hey, we have to spend some time grieving. And you had a picture of two little boys and a little girl, right?
Yeah.
And your knucklehead boys were going to grow up and be great men, and your daughter was going to be your ride or die and take care of you, like, right?
Yeah, we would really like to meet Ruth.
Yeah, exactly. You already named her.
We did.
Yeah. And yet, your body's trying to tell you this isn't safe for us and it's not safe for them.
Yeah. And that's not a fun answer. And that doesn't feel like a good way to make the decision about having a third or not.
What, death?
I'm scared.
Death, Sally, that's not fear. That's death, right? That's like saying, like, I don't... That's amazing. Like, don't give in to the fear. That's like saying, like, when you reach into the oven, don't put on an oven mitt. Don't give in to the fear of heat. Like, no, it's hot in there. It'll burn my hand. Right? This isn't you cowering to fear. This is your body has had to be rescued by modern technology twice.
Yeah.
As has the lives and babies, your children. And here's the other thing. I'm just repeating back what you told me. I'm not in a position to even assist with this conversation other than probably the greatest gift I have on the planet Earth, besides being a good husband and a good dad, is helping people own reality. Here's the truth of your story. And the truth of your story is you had an amazing picture of 3 kids plus an amazing husband, and it was all going to work out. And 2 near-death experiences for your boys and 2 near-death experiences for you, and you're left going, whew, maybe this picture's not gonna come out like it is not gonna be the full picture that we thought. And in the moment, it feels like if this picture can't happen, then everything, I'm never gonna have joy again. And it's just not true, but you're not there yet. You're gonna sit in it for a while. And it's okay to be sad.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I've been robbed so much by the birth trauma that I experienced in those, first snuggly days when we ended up not snuggling and back in the ER for jaundice and having lactation issues and all these other things. I feel like I was robbed of so much that I hate for birth trauma to rob me of a third child because of
it's not birth trauma. It's medical reality. Okay. Because birth trauma makes it sound like a scary thing happened and you're perceiving it and you're continuing to experience it now and it's an experiential. It's not. It's a medical reality at this point. And I want to challenge the idea that you were robbed. The picture you wanted didn't come true.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have 2 healthy boys right now?
I ultimately, yes. Yes, we have some challenges with our second, but yes, he is healthy.
Okay. He'll get there?
Yeah, he'll get there.
Okay, that's not robbed in my book.
Okay.
Yes, would have been awesome if everything was if you had this magical vaginal birth and then he just started nursing right away and you got the skin-to-skin contact and all of the nurses like threw rose petals up. I mean, yeah, that would have been awesome. It would have been amazing.
It would be, yeah.
But here's it's a common psychological quirk in our system. One of the things that makes us amazing as a species is we can imagine and create a world in the future and make it so. The problem is when it doesn't come true, we feel loss as though something was taken from us in the real world. And it robs us of that joy that's right in front of us, or the miracle of an emergency C-section. When anything traumatic happens, I always tell people, no big decisions for 6 months. That's the way I was trained. And when I experienced some significant trauma, that's how I was coached as well. And so I'll tell you the same thing. Put it on the calendar 3 months from now, 6 months after your baby's born, when you're up bebopping around better than you are right now, your little boy is completely out of the woods, and then put on your calendar. Tell your husband, we're going to sit down and have the third baby conversation. There'll be a little more clarity. There'll be some more distance. You might want to get some medical opinions, but this isn't about, I'm not going to let the birth trauma have the final word. That's not this situation. I'm not going to give in to fear. That's not this situation. This is 2 medical emergencies saved your life and the lives of your boys. This is more about the grief of, or the potential grief of what might be. Whew, I'm so sorry. Ugh. Thank you for the call, Sally. Call anytime. I'll sit with you anytime. You're an absolute joy. You didn't do anything wrong. You're a great, great mom. And those little boys are lucky, lucky, lucky to have you.